Join Chill Pencilmation on a journey through ancient mysteries that might just blow your mind. Ready? Buckle up, and let's get started.
Number 7. Could Atlantis be Santorini? The eruption that wiped out a civilization? You've probably heard of Atlantis, the underwater city swallowed by the sea in a single day and night. But don't dismiss it as pure myth. Some researchers believe Atlantis might actually be the island of Santorini, and the lost civilization was Minoan, one of the most advanced cultures of the ancient world. Around 1600 BCE, the volcano Thera, now Santorini, erupted with such force that it may have been the largest explosion in human prehistory. Its estimated power was 40 times that of Hiroshima, triggering tsunamis across the Mediterranean, killing thousands and obliterating cities for hundreds of kilometers. The Minoans at the time were a wealthy civilization with their own script, Linear A, multi-story architecture, advanced plumbing, vivid frescoes, and trade networks stretching from Greece to Egypt. After the eruption, the island was devastated. Tsunami slammed into Crete, the Minoan hub, destroying ports, crops, and trade routes, causing the civilization to collapse within a few generations. Plato wrote about Atlantis 1,000 years later, describing a rich, technologically advanced society that was swallowed by the sea after a single fateful day. It doesn't line up perfectly, but it's not wildly off either. So maybe Plato didn't invent Atlantis, maybe he was echoing the fading memory of a very real catastrophe. Number 6. Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. Not even kidding. When someone says pyramid, what comes to mind? Egypt, Giza, pharaohs, tourists posing like they're touching the top. But here's the plot twist no one tells you. Sudan actually has more pyramids than Egypt. Yep, over 200 of them, tucked away in the desert of Merowe, and almost nobody talks about it. Why? Because Egypt has better PR. Simple as that. The pyramids in Sudan were built by the Kingdom of Kush, a civilization that once kicked the pharaohs off their throne and took it for themselves. They wore leopard skins, crowned themselves, had their own writing system, and built steep pyramids that looked like townhouse roofs. These pyramids aren't as massive as Giza, but they look just as badass, especially when you find out they contain ancient scripts that still haven't been decoded, which means they might hold cosmic secrets or a really good beef stew recipe. No one knows for sure. The problem is, due to politics, tourism trends, and the sands of time, Sudan got left behind. The pyramids are still there, leaning in the wind, waiting for someone to accidentally Google Egypt, but less crowded. Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt, maybe not as grand, but definitely deserves more mentions than being left out of textbooks altogether. Number 5. Eye of Horus, sacred symbol or brain anatomy diagram. The ancient Egyptians had a legendary symbol, the Eye of Horus. You've seen it on necklaces, tattoos, and all over those secret society memes online. But here's the fun part. If you overlay that symbol on a cross-section of the human brain, it matches. And not just a little. The curved eyebrow? That's the corpus callosum, the bridge between the brain's hemispheres. The teardrop shape? That's the pineal gland, what many religions call the third eye. The upward tail? That's the visual cortex, the brain's light and image processor. Some scholars even point out that the symbol divides into 6 parts, matching the 6 major sensory areas of the brain: sight, smell, taste, etc. And let's not forget, Egyptians removed the brain during mummification, through the nose. In other words, they handled more brains than any other civilization back then. So, did they understand the brain and encode that knowledge into a spiritual symbol? Or was it just a coincidence from a people who coincidentally aligned pyramids to Sirius, mapped the lunar cycle, and preserved teeth for 4,000 years? If the Egyptians really understood brain anatomy before microscopes existed, what else did they know that we don't even know we don't know? Number 4, the Maya and Venus, They tracked it better than Google Calendar. The ancient Maya were obsessed with astronomy, but not in a casual, today's weather kind of way. They were serious about it to a level that modern scientists admire. And the celestial body they tracked most was Venus. In an ancient manuscript called the Dresden Codex, the Maya recorded Venus's movements with an error margin of just 1,000th. Yep, over 1,000 years ago, while Europe was still arguing over Easter dates, the Maya calculated Venus's cycle at 584 days, incredibly close to the modern value of 583.92 days. No telescopes, no computers, just sharp eyes, stone tablets, and elite-level observation skills. Why the Venus obsession? To them, Venus wasn't just a bright dot. It symbolized the god of war and transformation. They used its motion to plan their farming calendars, decide when to go to war, and even predict the fate of kings. Every time Venus disappeared from the sky due to orbital movement, they believed the god had entered the underworld. When it returned, it marked change. A dynasty could rise or fall. And the coolest part? The Maya's Venus calendar is so accurate, even NASA confirmed it. Yep, NASA, not some stargazing Reddit group. Number 3, Stonehenge isn't alone. All of Europe once loved building stone circles. Everyone knows Stonehenge, those giant stones arranged in a circle in the English countryside. Seems one of a kind? Think again. It's actually just the poster child of a whole continent-wide rock circle trend. From Scotland to France to Germany and Spain, hundreds of circular structures made of stone, wood, or earth have been discovered. Some are even older than Stonehenge, up to 6,000 years old in some places. In Scotland, Callanish lines up with the moon cycle. In Cornac, France, over 3,000 stones stretch in straight lines across nearly 12 kilometers. In Germany, Goseck Circle, made of wood, is perfectly aligned with the sunrise on winter solstice. These weren't random stacks of rocks. They were aligned with solar, lunar, or stellar cycles with precision that would make Google Maps jealous. Some circles even had special acoustic effects, possibly used for rituals, singing, or prehistoric concerts. They were often built near migration paths like social astronomical meeting hubs. Turns out Stonehenge is just the most famous member of a giant network, a world where our ancestors moved, stargazed, and arranged stones with stunning precision. Number 2, a blade sharper than scalpels, made from volcanic glass. While most of us are debating whether Japanese or Swiss knives are sharper, our Stone Age ancestors quietly developed a technology that even modern surgeons respect: obsidian blades, knives made from cooled volcanic glass. Sounds primitive, right? But when crafted correctly, obsidian creates an edge just a few nanometers thick, even sharper than modern surgical steel. No microscopes, no internet, and yet somehow ancient humans accidentally invented one of the sharpest tools in history. Still skeptical? Then check this out. Some modern surgeons, like Dr. Lee Green at the University of Alberta, Canada, have used obsidian blades in minor surgeries and confirmed that the cuts are incredibly smooth, with less swelling and almost no scarring. It gets better. Animal studies, published on PubMed, showed that obsidian incisions caused less inflammation, had fewer granulation tissues by day 7, and by day 21, wounds had nearly fully healed, as if photoshopped. So why aren't hospitals using these? Because obsidian, while sharp, is fragile. It can break easily or be tough to sterilize, and the FDA isn't a fan of beautiful but breakable. Still, obsidian blades are used in histology and veterinary surgery, where the standards are less strict. Bottom line, while most of humanity was still figuring out fire and chasing deer, some master flint knappers picked up volcanic rock and created a tool that modern humans would only later call a nanosurgical instrument. And the number 1, the stones that tell stories at Chichen Itza. At Chichen Itza, one of the most famous ancient cities of the Maya, you won't find libraries or history books because the Maya didn't write on paper. They carved their history into stone. And don't think it was just a few lines of text.
They told stories in fiery images of warriors, snakes, and ritual sacrifices. Basically, these were ancient graphic novels, but if you misread them, you might mistake praying for rain as slaughter all traitors. The ancient Mayan language had over 800 hieroglyphic symbols, and each one could change meaning depending on its position, shape, and orientation, like trying to solve a Sudoku puzzle in the dark in a foreign language with no translation. One of the most famous carvings shows a ball player being decapitated and 7 serpents spiraling out from his neck. Not a mythological movie, it's a symbol of rebirth. They didn't need to write sacred, they had snakes and blood. Simple and effective. The Maya recorded eclipses, major battles, sacrificial ceremonies, and the coronation dates of rulers, all carved into temple walls, stone pillars, staircases, and altars. Each wall is a page of history, and to read them today, researchers use 3D lasers, electron microscopes, and even AI.
Because truly, the Maya wrote their entire intellect into stone. We've just spent centuries figuring out how to unlock it. And the most surprising part? The Maya didn't vanish, like many people believe. In fact, over 6 million people today still speak the Mayan language, still live in Mexico, Guatemala, and surrounding areas. They still follow ancestral rituals, build traditional homes, and sometimes even hold festivals just like they did 1,000 years ago. Only now, they ride home on motorcycles. The Maya didn't disappear from history. They just kept writing it in their own way.
Thanks for joining Chill Pencil Nation. See you on the next adventure. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe. More mysteries await.